Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It's April the 8th, 2023. It's Saturday, so it's That Dad Guy Answers Day. So any questions you have written from the previous Saturday, I'm going to answer today. And that continues on until the next week. So if you have a question for me that you'd like to have answered, leave it in the comment of this video, and then next week I will answer it for you. Also, I have monthly questions that I ask of you that I get you to send me postcards from, and then I read them off on the first Saturday of the month, and then subsequent Saturdays if they keep trailing in. So I do have some questions, some cards that came in with answers from question number 2 that I will read after your questions are answered. And then I'll also give you a reminder of what the question is here for the month of April. So let's get started. The first question, actually the only question I have coming in this week, is coming from Sam in the United States, and she says she has 2 questions for me. The first one made me laugh. Says, first, in your Sunday videos, so that's when I'm sitting over here usually showing you the cards that I've picked out that I'm sending out for post-crossing in return for direct swaps and things like that. She says, in your Sunday videos, what sort of magic is holding up the books on the wall behind your head? So if I do this, this is where my Sunday videos are. If you look behind my head, see the magic books that are floating there on the wall. We're going to get to that. We're going to tell you how those books are just magically up there. It's not witchcraft, I can assure you. And then she says, secondly, do you think yourself as more of a stamp collector or a postcard collector? And I think of myself more as a stamp collector. And the reason for that is that I started collecting stamps as a young child. I kind of stopped for a while, but I was helping my father. So as a young adult, I had found stamps that he didn't have. When I was living in Vancouver, they had a really nice stamp shop there. So I would go in and I'd have catalog numbers of some of the Scott numbers he was missing, and I would send them back to him so he could fill in some of the gaps. And then as a more mature adult, I came back and I was helping my father, and I've inherited the collection now that he's no longer able to do the collecting. I still get stamps from other people that have to be sorted and put into those books, or put into new books, because he did a lot of hinging originally with his stamps, and the new ones I'm not putting into hinge books. I'm just putting them into proper stamp books. So yeah, I see myself as a stamp collector. Also, through post-crossing, I don't consider myself a postcard collector. So I'm not looking to collect all train postcards, all hedgehog postcards, all flower postcards. I do it for the experience of the stories, the connections that I'm getting on the back. Now, let's take example here. I'm going to take an example of a postcard you've already seen, so I'm not showing you something else. All right. I received this postcard from Media in Finland just this week. There's a message on the back for me, and that's what I collect. That connection is what I'm collecting. The stamps that are on these postcards, I don't steam them off. I don't tear off the corners and ruin the postcards. So those stamps don't go into the stamp collection. I appreciate the stamps that are on it, and I put them in binders that you can see both sides of the card and the stamp side with the message. So yeah, I don't consider myself a postcard collector. I'm through post-crossing and direct swaps, I'm a connection collector, if anything. So yeah, stamp collector first, and then when it comes to post-crossing, it's the connections that I'm really more interested in. So that's why I say, send me whatever card you want, because it doesn't really matter what the image is on the card. I don't want anything offensive on the card, but I enjoy the beauty of the different cards that are out there, and there's so many different varieties. But I'm not collecting a specific postcard. All right, let's get back to the magic, if you will. I'm going to reposition this. I'm going to try to anyways. I'm putting this on top of my printer, so I'm trying to find a stable way of doing this. There we go. So you can see there are books, and they're just normal books floating up here magically, if you will. Let's take all this off. You're starting to see there's a plate. So ta-da, there is a metal plate in there. And that goes on the back cover. So there's little tiny hooks that are right at the bottom that hold that back cover in place. And the weight of the book with that in the place keeps it there. So no magic, just some trickery, if you will, holding that in place. Let me just adjust this back into normal. Ta-da-da-da. Let's go it right there. So there, no magic, unfortunately, just a really cool design that I found that makes it look like that they're floating on the wall. The downside of those books, I think I've maybe opened them. Well, the management book was a university book that I had, so it hasn't been opened in 20 years. There are a couple other books that I got there when I was a financial advisor. So I've been with Canada Post for about 11 years now at this point. And so those books haven't been opened in that amount of time. So they've been floating up there collecting dust for a long time. So it is more of a art piece now than anything practical. But thanks for noticing, and it was kind of neat to be able to show that. I almost forget that they're up there sometimes. So yeah, that's the magic of this office. All right, those two questions are now answered. Let's get into the questions that I got back on question number 2. Let me just find it here just to give you a recap. For the month of March, I said, what is the most popular food from your area specifically, and where is the best place to get it? And then I received this card this week. This comes from Judy in Florida, and she says, oranges and any other citrus. A day without orange juice is like a day without sunshine. Many homes have orange trees in their backyards, or just go to the grocery store. Great question. So key lime pie, delicious recipe pie here. And on the back, look at all the beautiful stamps. You can see what she's done. Question number 2. So I know that it goes with the March questions. That's what I'm looking for from you guys, especially now we've got question number 3 out there. You're going to put a number 3. You're going to give your response. If you've got a card that applies, great. If not, don't worry about it. All right, this other one arrived. We've got a picture of a rooster, and this comes from Linda Stampgal in Georgia, and she says, hello, Rob. This month is somewhat hard because the South USA is known for food. I would say popular food is fried chicken and grits. For me, I won't say a chili. I would say a chili slaw dog, order of onion rings, and an ice cold classic Coke at the Varsity near Georgia Tech. So there we've got a card that doesn't match what she's saying. It doesn't matter. It's a great card. But on the back, there's the forever stamp. Linda is saying that go to Varsity near Georgia Tech. So I love that. She's given the location where the best place to go get a chili slaw dog is. Onion rings. I prefer onion rings over French fries too, so I would have to join you on that one. And a classic Coke. As we know, Coca-Cola comes from Atlanta, Georgia. So that is a regional thing that they're known for. So thank you, Linda, for that question and answer, or that answer to my question. All right, this next one comes from David in San Francisco in the United States. So we've got chowder so good, you'll want to eat the bowl. And he says, San Francisco sourdough is unique because of the local bacterial named, and then he says it, but I can't really read what it says. He says, which survives in the local fog climate of San Francisco. All the eateries of Fisherman's Wharf serve the bread. So if you're looking to get some chili, for example, you might get some chili in a bread bowl. I've been to San Francisco. I've had this. We used to have eating the bread bowls at our Tim Hortons. They used to do that too. They don't do that anymore. But it was great. I love the fact that you could eat the soup or the chowder or the chili out of the inside of it, and then you could eat the dish that it was in after. It was really good. So that's a great idea. I love that San Francisco still does that, and that their bread is unique because of the bacteria that survives in their fog climate. So it's very interesting to know. All right, so thank you, David, for that. Thank you for all 3 cards that have made it in. And that's all I've got for that. Now, before I say what question number 3 is, again, remind you for April, I'm going to say, please subscribe, like, comment. The comments are what drives this particular question or this particular video. So make sure you leave your comment of your question for next week so I can answer it. So April, it says, what is your favorite memory of your parents? And the reason I ask that is because in May, when all these answers get read, it will be my father's 90th birthday. And so I was planning on doing the video with him at his home. And yeah, he can get a chance to hear all these responses. It's kind of a birthday present to him, and to let him know that there are lots of people around the world that really appreciate their parents and parents in general for the sacrifices that they do to make sure that we have the lives that we have. So that is the question I have for you guys for the month of April, and on the first Saturday in May, I will read those off, and I think it'll be fun. It'll be a good one. And I want to thank those that sent in cards for question number 2 that are still trickling through, and for Sam for the questions that she had today for me. That's all I've got. I've got some other things in the works that I'm going to go off and do, so we'll get this video edited and out to you guys to enjoy, and have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Bye.